Sergeant Bubakar, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing the Suffolk Sheriff's Office in the next 4 years, and how would you address it?
So the greatest challenge, I think, is manpower. We need to hire more people. And after that, I believe the culture has to change. And what I mean by that is, I do believe that the sheriff department by now should have more than 30 people that we have. And also the mindset. What I mean by that is, here we have a sheriff's office where, for example, my opponent here, he was promoted, he was assigned, which is a frontline supervisor, and then he gets promoted to deputy chief. Kudos for him. However, I do think that it's hard for you to convince me that it's based on meritocracy. That's just what I think. I am somebody who cares about doing the right thing. You know, you have to go through. There is a reason why you have to go through the ranks, because that's how you get experience. So I think the culture has to change when everybody that is in the department must know that the opportunity is for everybody. You know, the sheriff's office has been given to friend and friend. I think that needs to change. Now, Suffolk is growing, and we need to change the way the department is being run. So I think the manpower and also the culture has to change.
Sheriff Miles.
Funding. I can't sit here and make promises with a shovel in my hand, digging a hole for myself. To think that I can just create positions. As I stated earlier, there were 20 law enforcement positions requested of the city last budget cycle, and they only funded 9. The biggest challenge for the sheriff's office is, number one, the courthouse and the fact that we are busting at the seams. The next thing is a juvenile holding facility that is local. And the final thing is mental health. And it's been said that we should take over ECOs and TDOs. That's the primary agency responsibility. But when it comes to civil commitments, which is the following step after ECOs and TDOs, that responsibility is on the sheriff. Last year, we did 22 or 24,000 miles in those transports going to Catawba, Virginia, Marion, Virginia, Northern Virginia, Danville, Virginia. That is a sheriff's job to do. And it only gives us 6 hours to respond from when the phone call rings. So those are deputies who worked all day and then have to drive through the evening, sleep there so they can be safe to drive home the next morning. In any given day, we'll have 6 deputies on the road between juvenile transports and civil commitments transports. I want this office to grow. I asked the city for positions to make this office grow, not so that we can grow to do the police department's job at the expense of our primary responsibilities, but to grow to keep up with the demand of running the courthouse, the demand of attending to the inmates, and the demands of doing civil process. Once we can keep up with that, absolutely we can be more of a support to our police department. But it cannot, and I repeat, cannot be at the expense of the quality of service that we are providing for our current responsibilities, which I think I'm the only one who's addressed that. Thank you.
And Sergeant Summerall.
A little bit of deja vu. I felt like we had that question early on. Okay. Biggest problem moving forward next 4 years. Sheriff Miles actually hit on something. Fastest growing city in the state, largest landmass so far cities go in the state. Funding comes from the city by and large, most of the funding. One of the biggest problems you have there is getting the city council to recognize the need to get more funding for the sheriff's office. That seems to be one of the big things that the sheriff is saying again, getting that funding. And I agree with him on that. I don't want to take over the job of the police. As I stated before, I've been a police officer my whole career. I understand the difference between the office of the sheriff and what we do as police officers. I don't want to take over the job that they're doing. I want to be a force multiplier where I can. And you need manpower for that. And you can take some of the ancillary duties off of their hands so that they can better serve the citizenry themselves for the job they do, which is calls for service and keeping the crime down. Lord knows, if you call and you need us, you need police, and it takes 30, 45 minutes for them to get to you, come on. I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's easy. We can help them. The more officers are on the street, the quicker they can get to folks, the quicker they can respond to those calls for service, the quicker they can save you or your family. So I don't want to take over the job of the police. I don't want to be a full service sheriff's office. I want to be a force multiplier where we can, where it's smart, and you need people to do that, and you need the funding to do that. Again, federal and state grants. It doesn't all have to fall on the city residents right off the get-go. Let the city council see the benefits that can be offered, and then they'll be more willing to provide the funding to make it happen going forward. Betty?